Well, this one had the lot. Great duel at the start, hugely competitive midfield battles, not one but two charges from the back of the field, and one emotional local boy having a blast. I'm Chip from the Digital Grandstand. Welcome everyone to this latest edition of Beyond the Finish Line. Please don't forget to subscribe. Right, let's get one thing out of the way first. At least in my view, the 2017 Brazilian GP was an almost classic race. Here's how it all happened. Track temperatures. Friday was hot, Saturday not so much, and Sunday hellfire. Practice sessions made clear two things. The race pace of the Mercedes on the first and last sectors was absolutely devastating. Ferrari, on the other hand, were supreme in the slow and twisty middle sector. The red car was able to negotiate slow and medium fast corners like a ballet dancer in Pirelli shoes. In fact, in race trim, they were almost neck and neck. Mercedes going roughly 2/10 faster in the first sector, Ferrari blitzing the second sector almost half a second quicker than Mercedes gaining about 3/10 in the final part of the lap. So, going to bed on Friday, Mercedes were pretty much confident of securing pole position thanks to that magic Q3 mode, but were looking forward to a race-long battle on Sunday with the Ferraris. As it turned out, the team had a major scare on their way to the hotel when they were robbed at gunpoint. And I guess there's a joke to be made about Visit Brazil or something in there somewhere? Ahem. Anyway, back on track. Red Bull were never going to do better than P5, realistically. The car was slow, Ricciardo was facing at least a 10-place demotion on the grid, and Renault issued a new turbo limit for all their power units. The 5,000 RPM limit was all due to what transpired in Mexico, where so many Renault power cars had issues. Saturday, and is that Glock? Is that Glock? No! It's Hamilton! And he's in the wall! Right! Okay, spanner in the works I guess. It'll be Vettel versus Bottas for pole then. And so it was. With first blood courtesy of Sebastian in Q3, Valtteri nailed an almost perfect second run and snatched pole position from the two Ferraris. Max was 4th and Daniel qualified P5 but would start in P15, however on the more durable soft tires. Special mention too from quali for Perez and Alonso, who managed to get the best of the Renaults and an informed Massa. Race day, and the track was boiling hot. Mercedes, making the most out of a tricky situation, changed absolutely every single component of Hamilton's power unit and had him start from the pit lane. Good thinking there, as it turned out. Lights out, and almost everyone gets wheel spin. Bottas struggled a bit more though, and Vettel takes the inside line into turn 1, and with it, the lead of the race. Verstappen tried his best to attack Kimi, but to no avail. Behind them, Perez was swamped by first Alonso and then Massa as they reached the Senna S's. On the exit of the first complex, things got hairy. Ricciardo, Van Dorn and Magnussen went side by side out of turn 2. As the track narrowed, Kevin made hard contact with the McLaren driver, sending him into the rear right tire of Ricciardo. Stoffel and Kevin were out on the spot, while Daniel had to crawl back to the pits for a new set of softs. By this point, the safety car was deployed in order for the debris to be cleared out of the second corner. But this was not going to stop Grosjean and Ocon duking out for position. Ocon went round the outside into turn 6 with Grosjean taking the inside line. A snap of oversteer later and Grosjean is sent into the side of the Force India, both cars sliding off track. Romain was able to continue, but was later given a 10-second time penalty, but Ocon's record of race finishes from debut was no more. The safety car was left out for 4 laps, leading the pack through the pit lane as turn 2 was filled with shards of carbon fiber. After all the chaos, Hamilton was running P16, with both Gasly and Ericsson running well in P10 and 11 respectively. At the restart, Vettel backed down a lot before flooring the throttle out of turn 12 and was already some 4 car lengths ahead of Bottas by the time he reached turn 1. A little bit behind, Massa used the full beans of the Merc power unit to get ahead of Alonso, while the Spaniard brilliantly used the slipstream of the Williams ahead to defend from Perez. From now on, the race was split in two. Out front, Vettel had to really nail the second sector each and every single time in order to defend from Bottas on the fast parts of the circuit. Towards the back, Hamilton and Ricciardo were picking up car after car in their far more superior machinery. Left, right, on the run into turn 1, on the run to turn 4, or on the start-finish straight, virtually everyone fell prey to the Silver Arrow first, then to the Raging Bull a few laps later. Special mention for Ricciardo, by the way. His trademark later-than-late overtaking moves were something to behold here, especially this one on Stroll. By lap 20, Hamilton was already dispatching Alonso of P6, and Ferrari had a bit of a pickle to tackle. Raikkonen was informed he would stay out a bit longer in order for Vettel to have the better strategy. Some fast laps by Sebastian up front almost ruined his rear tires, and Bottas was still there, rarely more than 2 seconds behind. Lap 26 and Valtteri is called into the pits. Vettel, after the mother of all in-laps and the stop half a second quicker than the Merc had, emerged still ahead. Battle resumes. Verstappen tried a similar undercut on Kimi, coming into the pits on the same lap as Vettel with the Ferrari fin a lap later. To no avail. The Red Bulls were well and truly the third force here. After slicing and dicing his way through the field, Hamilton found himself leading the Grand Prix from lap 30 to lap 42. His management of tires was simply sublime, going at the same pace as Bottas on the same type of rubber, but with Lewis's tires that much older. He's finally called into the pits on lap 42 with Ricciardo following suit. With 28 laps to go, Lewis emerged just 18 seconds off the lead, and on fresh, faster super softs. Game very much on. Behind him, Massa and Alonso were still fighting hard, with now Ricciardo behind on his own super soft charge. By lap 57, the original 11 seconds between Verstappen and Hamilton were no more. Despite some brilliant defending from the youngster into turn 1, Lewis was through on the run to turn 4. Race leader Vettel was now only 8 seconds ahead. But first, Raikkonen. It took Hamilton 10 laps to close in on the second Ferrari, but some brilliant defense from the Iceman and the small lockup from Lewis into turn 1, it meant it was over. After 71 laps, Vettel crossed the finish line first, with Bottas less than 3 seconds behind. Then came Kimi and Lewis in close succession. After being overtaken by Hamilton, Max elected to pit for a fresh set of tires and set the fastest all-time record around Interlagos, while Ricciardo made another couple of great overtakes later on to finish P6. Local boy Massa was absolutely thrilled with his P7 just ahead of Alonso and the low-key but super fast Perez. Nico Hülkenberg brought home the final point for Renault, but he was still a lap down on the leaders. Apart from the 3 first lap casualties, the only other retirement from this race was Brendan Hartley with yet another Renault failure. My driver of the weekend, and I know I'm going to take some heat for this, is Lewis Hamilton. Yes, Vettel drove impeccably. Yes, Bottas was relentless on his pursuit. Yes, Ricciardo made some of the best overtakes this side of 2010, but Hamilton takes it for me. And that was the Brazilian GP. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts of this Grand Prix and who was your driver of the weekend, because I know you think I am wrong. Like and share this video to your F1 buddies. If you're new around here, please do subscribe for more F1 content. I've been Chip from the Digital Grandstand. You can chat to me on Twitter at chip_DGS, and I'll see you soon.